Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we embark on a unique exploration that merges two legendary realms of darkness, the Sith Lords of Star Wars and vampires. We will delve into the characteristics of selected Sith Lords and discuss how they embody certain aspects of the mythical vampire lore. Let's unlock the crypt and discover the eerie connections between these two iconic entities. Sith Lords and vampires are both iconic figures in popular culture known for their dark and supernatural characteristics. Although they belong to different fictional universes, a brief analysis can highlight some similarities and differences between these two intriguing archetypes. Some similarities. Dark powers. Both Sith Lords and vampires possess formidable and often malevolent supernatural abilities. As practitioners of the dark side of the Force in the Star Wars universe, Sith Lords exhibit mastery over the Force, enabling them to wield lightning, manipulate minds, and engage in lightsaber combat. Vampires, on the other hand, are known for their superhuman strength, speed, and immortality, as well as their ability to manipulate minds and control certain elements. Longevity and immortality. Both vampires and Sith Lords are typically depicted as having extended lifespans or being effectively immortal. Through their connection to the Force and knowledge of its dark side, Sith Lords can extend their lives using various methods, such as transferring their essence into new bodies or achieving spiritual immortality. Vampires, often portrayed as undead creatures, sustain their lives by consuming the blood of others, granting them prolonged existence or even eternal life. Some differences. Origins and nature. Sith Lords originate from the Star Wars universe and are powerful Force users who are driven by ambition, seeking dominance and control over others. They follow a specific code and adhere to the teaching of the Sith Order. Vampires, on the other hand, are rooted in various mythologies and folklore from different cultures around the world. They are often portrayed as cursed or transformed humans, driven by a constant thirst for blood and associated with themes of seduction and the undead. Sith Lords derive their power from the dark side of the Force, tapping into emotions like fear, anger, and hatred to fuel their abilities. They embrace the destructive aspects of the Force, which can corrupt their souls and lead to their downfall. Vampires, on the other hand, derive their powers from the consumption of blood. Blood is their life force, and it sustains and enhances their physical abilities and immortality. Some goals and motivations or differences. Sith Lords are typically motivated by power control and the pursuit of personal ambition. They seek dominance over the galaxy, often aiming to overthrow or manipulate existing political structures. On the other hand, vampires are often portrayed as creatures driven by survival instincts, seeking to satisfy their thirst for blood while navigating their internal struggles with morality and their own dark impulses. Let's dive into 5 examples. Darth Vader. Darth Vader and vampires are two iconic figures in popular culture, known for their distinct characteristics and dark nature. While they belong to different fictional universes, we can draw some interesting parallels. First and foremost, both Darth Vader and vampires possess a strong aura of darkness and evil. Darth Vader, as a Sith Lord in the Star Wars franchise, is driven by the dark side of the Force and embodies malevolence. Vampires, on the other hand, are creatures of the night, associated with bloodlust and supernatural powers. Both characters thrive on fear and have a reputation for striking terror into the hearts of their adversaries simply by being present. Secondly, both Darth Vader and vampires have origins shrouded in tragedy. Darth Vader, formerly known as Anakin Skywalker, was a Jedi Knight who fell to the dark side due to his personal struggles and manipulation by the Sith. Vampires, often depicted as cursed or damned individuals, are often portrayed as tragic figures with a dark past or a transformative event that led to their vampiric existence. This shared theme of tragic backstory adds depth and complexity to their characters. Additionally, Darth Vader and vampires possess enhanced physical abilities. Darth Vader, aided by his cybernetic suit, possesses immense strength, agility, and durability. Vampires, depending on the lore, exhibit enhanced speed, strength, and healing abilities. These powers grant both characters an advantage over their opponents, making them formidable adversaries in their respective worlds. Furthermore, both Darth Vader and vampires struggle with inner conflicts. Darth Vader, despite his allegiance to the Sith, experiences moments of conflict and redemption, ultimately seeking redemption for his own actions. Similarly, vampires are often portrayed grappling with their own monstrous nature, wrestling with the desire for blood and the longing for humanity. This internal struggle adds a layer of complexity to their characters, evoking a sense of sympathy and empathy from the audience. Darth Maul. Darth Maul and vampires share certain characteristics, but they also have significant differences. Darth Maul is a Sith Lord from the Star Wars universe. He's a member of the Zabrak species and was trained in the dark side of the Force. Vampires are often mythical creatures depicted as undead beings that sustain themselves by feeding on the blood of the living. As a Sith Lord, Darth Maul possesses enhanced physical abilities, skilled lightsaber combat, and proficiency in using the dark side of the Force. He is agile, highly skilled in martial arts, and can use the Force to augment his physical attributes. Vampires are often portrayed with supernatural powers like enhanced strength, speed, and senses. They can also possess mind control, shape-shifting, and the ability to heal rapidly. Additionally, vampires are commonly associated with immortality or longevity. Darth Maul, like other Sith, is vulnerable to the light side of the Force and can be weakened by its presence. He can also be killed through conventional means. Vampires often have specific weaknesses, such as vulnerability to sunlight, garlic, holy water, or wooden stakes through the heart. They can also be killed by decapitation or fire, depending on the vampire lore. Darth Maul's primary motivation is power and pursuit of the Sith's agenda, which involves dominating the galaxy and destroying the Jedi Order. His existence is deeply intertwined with the Star Wars narrative and the conflict between the light and dark sides of the Force. The motivations and existence of vampires can vary across different mythologies and fictional works. They are often depicted as cursed beings, driven by a need to feed on blood to survive or driven by a desire for power or immortality. While both Darth Maul and vampires are associated with darkness, they differ significantly in their origins, abilities, weaknesses, motivations, and the worlds they inhabit. Darth Maul is a Sith Lord with strong connections to the Star Wars universe and the Force, whereas vampires are mythological creatures often associated with the supernatural and legends of the undead. Darth Sidious, also known as Emperor Palpatine, and vampires are two distinct fictional entities with notable differences. Both Darth Sidious and vampires possess a form of immortality. Vampires are often depicted as being immortal creatures who survive by consuming the life force of others. Darth Sidious, on the other hand, cheats death by using dark powers and transferring his essence into new bodies, allowing him to continue his existence across generations, essentially transferring his body, or his spirit naturally, into a clone. Both Sidious and vampires are skilled manipulators and possess mind-controlling abilities. Vampires often use their hypnotic gaze or persuasive powers to control or influence their victims. Similarly, Sidious is a master manipulator, adept at exploiting others' weaknesses and bending them to his will, as seen as the manipulation of Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars saga. Darth Sidious draws his strength from the dark side of the Force, granting him formidable powers such as Force lightning and the ability to shoot powerful energy bolts. Vampires, depending on the mythology, possess a range of supernatural abilities like enhanced speed, strength, and sometimes even limited control over natural elements. Both Darth Sidious and vampires have become iconic figures within their respective franchises, often symbolizing darkness, evil, and the allure of power. They represent a malevolent force that threatens the balance of their worlds and hold significant influence over their followers or victims. Despite these similarities, it's important to note that vampires are traditionally associated with folklore and horror genres, whereas Darth Sidious is a character from science fiction and the fantasy world of Star Wars. They belong to distinct fictional universes with different rules and contexts, making them both unique. Count Dooku. Count Dooku and vampires share several intriguing similarities despite belonging to different fictional worlds. Count Dooku and vampires both possess an undeniable charisma and charm that allows them to manipulate others. Count Dooku's refined manners and eloquence make him a masterful manipulator, convincing others to join his cause or betray their allegiances. Similarly, vampires are often depicted as seductive creatures who can enchant their victims, exerting control over their minds and emotions. Count Dooku and vampires possess supernatural abilities that set them apart from ordinary beings. Dooku is a powerful Sith Lord, skilled in lightsaber combat and adept at wielding the dark side of the Force. Vampires, on the other hand, exhibit enhanced strength, speed, and heightened senses, along with the ability to transform into bats or mist, and often possess immortality or longevity. Both Count Dooku and vampires are known for their cunning ability to deceive others. Count Dooku plays intricate political games, often concealing his true intentions and motives until it's too late for his adversaries. Similarly, vampires frequently employ deception to infiltrate human society or lure unsuspecting victims into their grasp. Count Dooku and vampires share a common aesthetic associated with darkness and energy. Count Dooku's Sith attire, with its flowing black robes and imposing presence, convey an air of intimidation and menace. Vampires are typically depicted with a combination of elegance and horror, dressed in dark, elegant attire that reflects their nocturnal nature and otherworldly existence. Darth Revan. Darth Revan is a character from the Star Wars universe, vampires, legendary creatures from folklore, and pop culture. They share certain intriguing similarities and differences. Both Darth Revan and vampires possess an aura of dark energy and mystery. They often operate in the shadows, concealing their true intentions and motives, adding an element of intrigue to their characters. Vampires are typically portrayed as immortal, having an extended lifespan, and Darth Revan, through the mastery of the Force, was able to cheat death and endure the Star Wars saga. Both Darth Revan and vampires possess extraordinary powers and abilities. Revan is a skilled lightsaber duelist and possesses potent Force abilities, while vampires are often depicted with supernatural strength, speed, and the ability to manipulate or shapeshift. Vampires are often depicted as undead creatures, cursed, or transformed humans, while Darth Revan is a complex character from science fiction universe who began as a Jedi Knight before being seduced by the dark side of the Force. Vampires have various vulnerabilities such as sunlight, garlic, or holy symbols, while Darth Revan's weaknesses lie more in his emotional vulnerabilities and internal conflicts. Both Darth Revan and vampires share certain dark and mysterious qualities, possess extraordinary powers, have longevity, but their origins, weaknesses, moral alignments, and cultural significance differ significantly. Nonetheless, they both captivate audiences with their enigmatic cultures and the sense of allure that surrounds them. As we explored the Sith Lords through the lens of the vampire lore, we found intriguing parallels between these dark entities. Both Sith Lords and vampires embody elements of immortality, draining power from others and striking fear into the hearts of their adversaries. The amalgamation of these two legends opens new avenues for imagination and storytelling within the Star Wars universe. Thank you for joining me on this eerie journey into the shadows.